What's up, Infected? It's Wolf of the Quarantine, and this is Kickstart Your Week. So if you're not familiar with what Kickstart Your Week is, this is my weekly segment where I basically just cover the previous week's Kickstarters that I thought looked interesting. Now, if you could hear... I don't know if you can hear that behind me. It's raining pretty hard here, so sorry if that messes with audio or anything like that. Now, there's no real hard, fast rules about what I do and don't choose to put in my Kickstart Your Week. It's really what caught my eye. Maybe it could be the title, the thumbnail. Maybe I looked into it and the gameplay looked cool. There's really no hard, fast rules regarding what I put in. However, the biggest rule, really the only rule, is I will not pick more than 5, regardless, because there's so many Kickstarters on Kickstarter every week. It just would be impossible for me to cover each and every one of them. So starting out is going to be Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy. Now, I debated on not adding this one to the list at all. Because if you've already played Eclipse, it's a game that's been around for quite a while. It's a really cool 4X. Basically, people refer to it to Twilight Imperium 4 Lite, or Twilight Imperium Lite. And while that's not super accurate, because Twilight Imperium is more of a space opera, this is a 4X in space, really. And it's focused more on the economy of building a galactic empire. It is a phenomenal game. It's actually one of my favorite, just 4X Empire games, because it also plays a 6-player game. I think you could probably get done in, I don't know, 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. So it's a lot quicker. So this one, everything about it is just, everything's better. Everything is, they rebalanced a lot of components. There's plastic minis for the, was it the GDS? I think the Global Defense, or the Galactic Defense something. Basically the bad guys. They're right over here. Well, maybe not. Yeah, the ancient ships, the GCDS. There we go. You have the plastic minis for all of those, which is awesome. In the base box, all of the alien races have their own unique ships. Basically, the stuff from Shipback 1, basically. More just improved art, rebalancing. They have these really sweet, sick-ass trays that I really, really want. But the reason why I debated on not putting it on here, there's also an expansion here, adds more stuff, human ships, all that stuff. But the reason why I'm debated on not putting it on here is I own everything there is to own for Eclipse. Again, it's one of my favorite games. I have a bunch of the promos. I think I'm missing one promo. I have all of the expansions, everything. I've played the hell out of my copy, and it's still pretty much in brand new condition. My problem is they're not offering any kind of upgrade thing for the people who already invested all of this money and everything into the game. If there was an upgrade that had the rebalanced components, and I could just individually buy like the plastic stuff, because like look at Guardian, the fucking Guardians, I want that. The monoliths, I want those. But I don't want to spend $150 to, because now I've got to figure out, try to sell my old copy. Hopefully I can get, I don't know, $50 for it, maybe, because this one's coming out. People would probably rather just get this one. So it puts me in a really shitty position, and I feel that I don't see any reason why there wouldn't be just an upgrade pledge or a way to buy the new stuff to put with your old one. So that's enough ranting. If you like 4X games, Eclipse is a phenomenal one. If you haven't played it, this is where you want to dive in. If you don't already own it, there is no reason to not back this. This game is fantastic. You're mainly managing the economy of a galactic empire, and you fight each other. You can play a whole game without going to war, because war in this game is costly, because it costs you your ships. It took you a lot of resources to build. But what's really cool that I like about this one is everybody's ships are built differently. You build your own ships, and so like your fighters have like, I think 3 or 4 spots. So you can actually put components into a spot. So maybe my fighters are like missile pods. That's all they have, are just rockets on it. Rockets and engines. But then like they're supported with my cruisers that have like Gauss weaponry on them and a bunch of shielding and stuff like that. So I kit my ships out the way I want to play, and it's such a cool mechanism. Phenomenal game. If you don't already own it, definitely pick it up. If you have an argument about maybe that might help me figure out whether I'm going to actually back this one or not. Put it down in the description. I'm just a little salty that they're not offering any kind of upgrade pledge level. I don't know. Just a little salty about that. All right, next up, I'm going to be taking a look at RollQuest. This one looked really interesting. It looks like kind of a social, social role-playing game, more like a role-playing exercise. And I very frequently run and play in tabletop games, not so much nowadays, but I used to quite a bit. I'm mainly the DM, but I also occasionally play, but I prefer to DM because I hate myself apparently. But this one looks like it'll be a good exercise for people who are new to role-playing, or just maybe aren't comfortable with role-playing in general. This would be a great exercise, or just a fun game for people who are role-playing. So I can't talk today. The point of the game is basically, as you see here, you move your meeple around the different areas. It looks like the different locations that you can move to have different rules and stuff like that, like different situations. And then you are given a character in the beginning of the game, but then you're also given a role play card, or a personality card, basically. And that personality card dictates how you specifically are supposed to be role playing your character. And you gain points if people guess your role play correctly. So you're moving around, you're role playing, and you're being like a snot, like right there, narcissistic jerk, and you're hoping somebody else can guess that. And if you do, you get points, and it just seems like a good fun. Mainly, like I was mainly interested in it because it looks like a really good exercise for, like, my wife. She's god awful at role playing. Something like this would be a good kind of exercise for people like her. Also for people who like games like Gloom would also probably get a kick out of this game. It looks really cute, really fast, and like it could be a really good game. Next up is going to be the first step on Callus. Now this one I don't know a whole lot about it. I did do watch the video, did look at a couple things, and but the thing that got me interested in this one is it says that it's a roll and move game. You're going to roll 2 dice and you're moving your heroes, it looks like, around. You're amassing armies, stuff like that. But what I thought looked really interesting is you have these cards that you see here that are dice. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can spend those cards in lieu of dice. So you don't like what you rolled, you can flip over the 6. Maybe you needed a 6 and a 4. You rolled a 4 and a 4. So you can flip over that 6 and turn one of those 4s into a 6, and boom, you got that 10 that you wanted, or whatever. And I don't know how you get them back. It's also got this interesting modular board that you can change, it looks like. But where it gets interesting is because you could also use those for combat. So you wind up having, it looks like you're going to wind up having dilemmas of, well, do I really want to use this? Because I could use it for combat instead. And it all around looks really interesting. The artwork looks really nice. You have these weird square plastic pieces that you put a model on, and then the plastic pieces underneath, I guess, indicate, so you could tell whose models are whose. And it looked like there was, like, I'm not 100% clear on it. I watched the video and I wasn't super clear. It looks like there's multiple different ways you can win. So these corner sections look like castles, and you could raid the castles. You could, like, raid the countryside, take over areas from them, so you can get more resources, it looks like, and then use it against them. I'm not really sure about how all of that works, but the main thing that interested me was that mechanic of, I'm not a huge fan of roll and move, but if there's some kind of decision making, where even if it's just how I move in that direction, if I have to roll 8 or move 8, if I could choose to move 8 this way or over here, like Xayah. That's why I like Xayah. Yes, it's a roll and move game, but A, you don't have to move the maximum distance, and B, the universe is your oyster. You move where you want to move, and so stuff like that. And then this, it looks like it has that, but it also has the little bit of mitigation, where you can use those dice cards instead to get what you want. So I just thought that was really interesting. And the last game for Kickstart Your Week this week there's only 4, is Rurik, Dawn of Kiev. Now, this one looks really interesting. It has, the biggest thing that really lured me to this one is the way you perform actions in this game. So it's got something very similar to one of my favorite types of mechanisms where you're bidding for actions, and it's like a blind bid. So I take and go, okay, well, I'm going to put this number 3 here, and then maybe I support it with something else or whatever. So I put that there, and then now you look at that, you don't know what that number is, and you go, do I want to go big there because maybe I really need that, or do I want to bluff and go like low and make them waste a bunch more of their actions to make sure they get it because they think I'm going high? And there's a lot of really cool thought patterns that go behind games like this that have that mechanic. This has a similar mechanic, but instead it's not a blind bid system. It is just a bid system. So, but the lower numbers always go first, it looks like, but they're not as good. So what winds up happening is I can put my 1 out because I really need to do this action. It's going to activate first or before yours because everybody, like, you're going to go from left to right, it looks like. So maybe I really need to move before you do because you're going to attack me or something. So I want to move out so you can't move in or something. You get the idea. So I put my number 1 out, but I want it to be a better action, so I can take my coins that I've earned and add it to that. So now not only do I resolve first, I also just perform at a higher number as well. But then you see that. So how do you want to act? Do you want to put your 1 down as well and add more numbers, or like, as I don't know if maybe I bump you down or something if I do the same. I'm not sure about that, but you get the idea. So it looks. Pardon me, it looks really, really interesting. The artwork is beautiful with the game. The minis look gorgeous. And it's basically an area control game where it looks like everybody has quests in order to reclaim the throne, which is interesting. So as you see here, your rule, build, or trade, you want to, I guess, try to get to the top of that, or the warfare track. So if you have 2 lands, you're gonna move up to here. 3 lands, you move up, so on and so forth. And it looks like you just want to get to the top of one of those tracks. But it looks really, really interesting. The fact that all of the leaders look beautiful. They all have their own special powers as well. And then looks like rebels. I'm not really sure how the rebels work. I'm guessing if you piss off the peasants, they rebel. It makes sense. Again, the artwork is just so nice. But these are those advisors, as your bidding system. You have different buildings you can build, strongholds, markets, all that jazz. And then I'm also a super big sucker for metal coins. I bought Zaya because it had metal coins. Like, I was on the fence with it because I didn't really have the money, but I wound up springing for it anyways. When I found out I had metal coins, that's what pushed me over the edge. But yeah, it looks like there's a larger bear. I don't really know what that means. I guess there's wildlife that can come and attack you. Yeah, as you see here, you're going to be pushing them down as you activate your advisors, stuff like that. It just all around looks really interesting with how the game plays. It's also got card-driven combat. Doesn't look like there's dice-driven combat, which is good because I'm not a big fan of dice-driven combat. But yeah, that is, God, I can't remember, Rurik, Dawn of Kiev. And those are my Kickstarters for this week. So I was a little on the fence for my arbitrary Kickstart Your Week award this week. I didn't know what I wanted to do because my initial reaction is to give it to Eclipse because I already love Eclipse. Again, I have pretty much everything. I think there's like either the nebulas or like the black hole tile, or there's like one promo that I don't have. Other than that, I pretty much have everything. Oh, I also don't have Ship Pack 1 because I didn't see a reason to get it. Yeah, they're cool looking, but I just didn't really see a reason to have them when it came to gameplay, and the fact that they didn't come out with the Ship Pack 2 that covers the Rise of the Ancients expansion races. I didn't really get it because then if you choose one of the expansion races, you're forced to use the crappy ships. So yeah, I wound up not getting it. Either way, that's neither here nor there. So I was torn about whether or not I wanted to give it to that because I am a little pissy the fact that In order for me to get the rebalanced equipment, the new rules, everything, I have to rebuy the entire game again, which I don't know if I'm gonna do. Again, if anybody has any good arguments down in the description, please, because I'm really fighting with myself whether or not I want to, because again, I've already explained all that. But so I wanted to give it to, my initial reaction was to give it to Eclipse, but the game, that Rurik game, where was it? This one. The Rurik Dawn of Kiev has one of my favorite game mechanics. Granted, it's not a blind bidding system, and that's what I like about blind bidding so much, is I like the thought process that goes behind, okay, what do I do? Do I do this? Do I really want to go hard? Do I want to go sneak a really low, crappy one, maybe support it with some coins, make it look I'm really going hard on that, to make you waste more pawns there so you get less actions, and I love that mechanic. But because this is an open bid system, I don't know how well that's gonna work in terms of like the mechanic that I like. Overall, though, the game does look fantastic. It's got beautiful, beautiful artwork. The minis look cool and everything. But fortunately, I am gonna give my arbitrary Kickstarter of the Week award to Eclipse, and purely because, aside from my problem with the game, or with this Kickstarter, if you don't have Eclipse and you like games like Twilight Imperium, but you want something that plays quicker, has shipped customization, doesn't have as much on the political aspect, politics in the game are purely player driven, but is more based around the economy and running an empire's economy and supporting it with warfare and ships and stuff. And it is watered down in comparison to the depth that happens with Twilight Imperium, but that's what happens when you take a 6.5 hour game and dilute it down to like 2 hours with 6 players. So it is a phenomenal game, and this is where you should go in and get it. From what I understand, the retail copy for just the base game is going to be like 150 bucks, because it has like the game tray inserts, which is really cool. That has there's another game I have, the Wasteland Delivery Company, I think it is called, that has them in it. They're really friggin' nice. This is going to have the same thing, which is another problem with the base game. Storage is a pain in the ass, but I digress. This is where you're going to want to jump in, because for $150 you can get it and the expansion, or you can wait till retail and $150 just to get the base game, and then not counting probably 50 bucks for the expansion. So this is where you want to jump in. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal game. I love the game. If you're not even sure, like, I think they sell it on Steam, a digital version. It's got mostly negative reviews, so I don't know why. I haven't played it yet, but you might want to try it there. But it is a really good game. But like I said, I know it's a good game, and this is where you're going to want to jump in. I'm personally just torn whether or not I want to buy it, go ahead and back it, and see if I can't get like 50 bucks for my copy. So I'm not really sure. And I forgot to add, I know some people are going to ask, but Wolf, why aren't you listing Cthulhu, what is it, Death May Die? Well, aside from an incredibly stupid name, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack from this, I've already played both of those the games that it's already that it reminds me of. It reminds me of a good mix between the other 7 Sins and Mansions of Madness mixed with a little zombie side. I was super stoked by the designer of the game, because if I'm not mistaken, it's I can never remember the guy's name, but the same guy who did Blood Rage and Rising Sun, which are phenomenal games. I love them. But everything I've seen about Cthulhu Death May Die, it's legitimately just the other 7 Sins mixed with Mansions of Madness. I've already played both of those. I already have both of those. I'm not backing it for that with a little bit of zombie side, which I don't like. Boy, that turned into a rant there for a little bit. But anyways, let me know what Kickstarters. I'm going to add a little more words are hard. Interaction. There we go. Let me know what Kickstarters, 1 or 2 Kickstarters that you liked that maybe wasn't on this list, or maybe it was. I'm not your mom. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But let me know down in the description if there were any Kickstarters that you thought I missed. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you'd like to help support the channel, I have a Patreon down in the description. I also have a one-time donation link as well if you'd rather just do it that way. Even $1 definitely supports the channel, and I definitely would appreciate it. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. That also helps support the channel. Stick around. We'll definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys. Anyways, hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you guys next time in the quarantine.